come to the top of your mat. Get your feet hip width apart, and your hips are, take your two fists together, and the arches of your feet should be about that far apart. And like your hips are not that narrow. That's like one fist. Just bend over. You don't have to put them all the way down, but you see, you're still a little bit too narrow. Yeah. And that just allows the space for your thighs, and that your femurs are going to be able to fold without any opposition from the other leg. So anyway, lift your toes up, spread them wide, place your toes back down. Inhale, stretch your chest high, stretch the crown of your head, the back part of your head up towards the ceiling. That will tuck your chin just a little bit. Isometrically, drag your feet toward each other. That will fire up all the muscles in your legs so that you can feel that. And then take your upper inner thighs, try to roll them to the middle and back. And now you create some space that you can tuck your tailbone under, tilting your pelvis backward to fill that space. Now your spine is directly over your sacrum, which delivers your gravity weight into your pelvis and then down into your hips. From here, lift your shoulders up, roll them back, get your shoulder blades to kiss, and then just let your shoulder blades sink down. Your gaze can be out at the horizon. You can be gazing down at a point on the floor that's not moving. And breathe in and out through your nose. Okay, from here, open up your eyes. We're going to start by bringing the weight into your left leg. You know, I got to turn this. Yeah. This is crazy. Where? The radio station's not in here. You hear any music from that?
Now it's off.
It's still good.
It's still playing. Okay. Okay, now that went too long. Okay, thanks. Okay. So come back into Tadasana. Bring your weight into your left foot. Slowly come up onto your right toes. Inhale, lift that right knee up. Maybe parallel with the floor for your thigh. Your arms can be anywhere that helps keep you vertical. Finding a spot on the floor that doesn't move, maybe 6 to 10 feet in front of you, is probably a little bit easier. Then bring that knee out to the side so that your foot is facing out towards the side. Feel the difference in your left ankle, the supporting leg. And bring that back. Knee back to center, then set it down. Step that up. Back to Tadasana. Bring the weight into the right foot this time. Come up onto your left toes and lift that knee up. And see, maybe this side is a little bit stronger or not quite as strong. All these movements, the shaking in your leg, those micro adjustments are all being done from signals sent by your fascia to the joints, so that that triggers the muscles to make an adjustment. Your brain cannot work fast enough, go all the way up to your brain and then send all the way back down to make those decisions for your muscles. And bring that knee out to the left. There are about 6 times more muscle or more nerve endings in your fascia than there are in your muscles. And bring that leg back to the front and then down. Step that up. Well, this week we're not going to miss what I've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks. So from here, step your right foot in front of your left so that your big toe on the left foot is just barely touching your right heel. And then rock forwards onto the right foot and back. Maybe lift and spread your toes. This is as easy as it's going to get. Now, have a micro bend in each leg. And then bring your arms up to T. And bring your palms together out in front of you. And then gaze at your fingertips. And then on an inhale, take that left arm out to the left. And all the way back behind you. Keeping your eyes on those fingers. And then bring it back. And don't feel bad if you fall out of it. This time, take your right arm out to the side and follow it. Then bring it back. And bring your arms down, walk that out. Bring your left foot in front of the right. With your toe just barely touching. Again, even up the weight so you're equal weight on each foot. Bring your arms out in front, gaze at your fingers. And then on an inhale, bring your fingers out to the right, straight arm, all the way out. Just keep your eyes following. And then return. And if you're herky-jerky, don't worry about it. This is practice. And then your left arm out to the side. And when you're ready, bring it back. And then release. Shake that up. Okay, right foot in front of the left again. We'll do this one for money. Can't even get my feet properly in place. Okay, so find that comfortable equal weight. Inhale, bring your arms up in front. Put your eyes on your hands. Now close your eyes. And bring your left hand out and around behind you. And then return. And then the right arm comes out and behind. Keep your breath steady. And then return that right arm back in front. And then release. Step that up. Okay, left foot in front, right foot behind. Bring your arms out into T and then towards the front. Look at your fingers and close your eyes. Bring that right arm out to the side. And then all the way behind you. And then bring it back. And then your left arm. And bring it back. Open your eyes. Lower your arms. Shake that out. Okay. Now we're going to get down onto the mat. So we're going to start in a seated position. And you can use a block for your sit bones, or you can use a towel rolled up tightly. If you have tight hamstrings, that's a great way to do it. If you have two blocks, I'm going to suggest that you take the second block, put it the vertical way, width way, going left to right in between your calves or your knees, whichever. But make sure that your sit bones are on the front of the block. And to begin with, I want you just to sit up straight. And then bring your hands down on the floor and maybe lift up just a little bit, taking a little bit of weight off. And then find a place that you can maintain your posture. You can walk your hands back a little bit if that helps. But test a little bit by lifting your hands up. And from here, allow your eyes to close. Take a deep cleansing breath into your nose. And exhale it out through your nose. Take another in through your nose. Exhale it out through your nose. Let your breath come to its own natural rhythm in and out through your nose. Now, normally you don't use diaphragmatic breathing, but today and today only, try breathing down into your belly. So on your inhale, your belly rises, and then your ribs expand a little bit, chest expands. And when your lungs are full, begin to empty from top to bottom like you're pouring water out of a pitcher. And when you get all the way down to the very bottom, squeeze your navel in towards your spine and begin again. Feel how unencumbered your lungs are. You can slowly bring your hands up off of the mat and just bring them, or maybe rest them on your knees. Keep your spine long. And feel your lungs and how they're being used. How the air inflates and deflates your lungs. And then on your next exhale, begin to walk your hands towards your feet, keeping your spine long, drawing your collarbones towards your feet, until your body says you've gone far enough and pause there. You can let your feet fall forward or fall out, doesn't matter. Now, something that I haven't normally had you do is bend your elbows and cross your arms and bring your palms up towards the ceiling. If you have a block in between your knees, maybe that's a good place to rest your forearms or your wrists. And as you breathe in and out, notice any difference in your lungs. Your lungs are getting a little bit more restricted the farther forward you fold. Just let your arms rest on your legs or on the block. You just don't want any weight. You don't want to be holding anything up. Let gravity do all the work here. Listen carefully. On your next inhale, come up halfway. Push your collarbones farther forward. Lean forward if you can. And then fold forward again. Let your spine round. Let your head fall forward. And let your arms be supported however feels best to you. Let your shoulder blades just drift away. You might want to float off to the sides of your chest, maybe down towards your hips. But let them do whatever is best for them. This pose stretches your hamstrings, those muscles on the backs of your legs, stretches your Achilles and your gastrocnemius muscles of your calves, and also your spine, lengthens your spine here. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, slowly rise back up. Move any blocks you've employed away. Bring your hands behind your hips and bend your knees. Bring your footprints onto the mat. And then slowly lower your knees to one side and then the other. Windshield wipering your knees. And feel your hips and all the muscles that are moving here. Notice how they are because you'll be doing this a few more times. And then the next time you come to center, straighten out your legs. Make sure you have your strap handy. In fact, grab your strap and just place it over your waist and then come all the way back down onto your back. I'll turn around. You might have to, but I think you may be able to see this a little bit easier. From here, bring your right knee into your chest and push your left heel forward, really stretching that left hamstring, and you're stretching your right psoas. Then take the center of your strap and place that over the ball of your foot and grab opposite ends with each hand. And if you grab them with your fists, grab the strap with your fist, face your fists away, and then to make a bind that is easy to hold, turn your fists in together like you're going to fist bump, and then continue that motion and grab onto the strap again so that your thumb is the only thing really holding that strap together. You can stretch that right heel up to the ceiling. And to put a little more pressure on that leg, draw your arms outward. It's like your leg is an arrow, the strap is a bow. I'm sorry, the strap is your bowstring. And then carefully change your bind into just your left hand, your right hand. So again, to do that easily, just bunch the strap together, grab the end with your left hand, take your right hand, and bring the back of your wrist underneath the strap, and then reach over the top and grab it. And then bring the end of the strap over your thumb. And again, you're not going to have much effort to maintain this spine. From here, rotate that right foot out, 15 degrees or so. Bring your left hand on top of that left hip to make sure that your left hip stays down, and slowly lower that right leg down towards the floor, knowing that you'll never get there. If it's easy for you to get that leg all the way down, just increase the amount of tension and draw that knee or draw that foot farther towards the wall beyond your head. This is stretching your adductors and your groins. But furthermore, it's opening up your hip socket. The object in Yin is to stretch your muscles and then get those same muscles to pause and relax so that your fascia that covers that muscle can pick up the tension from the pose. When that happens, the fascia is stimulated, draws more stem cells that your body is producing to lengthen, to grow a little bit bigger, to give your body a little bit more space in which to move. That will give you more flexibility and more mobility. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, slowly bring that foot all the way back up towards the ceiling. Keep tension on it. Begin to bend the knee until you can safely remove the strap. Set it aside. Draw that knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze. Draw the other knee into your chest. Push your hips away, stretching your spine long on the mat, and rock from left to right. Make sure you have a block handy here. The next pose is going to be Reclining Swan, but we're going to do it a little different today. Allow your legs to come down, your footprints next to your sit bones. Bring your right foot up onto the ceiling, push your heel away, and then bend your right knee and bring your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Now, what's different is normally I have you up on a block, but today you're going to start with your hips still on the mat. From here, take your right hand between your legs and grab either the back of your left thigh, or if your arms are long, grab your shin, and then draw that left knee in towards your chest, which also draws your right foot, right ankle in towards your chest. This is stretching your glutes on the right leg and also targeting for sensation your right hip socket. What I'd like you to do today is just move your hips a little bit from left to right and see what the difference is. You may have more stress in one side than the other. You may find that coming over towards the left, you can really feel this a lot more on your glutes. Or maybe you feel it more on the right. It really doesn't matter, but select the side, or it could be equal, and you could just stay in the middle. But select the side that has more sensation. That's where you have more stress. That's where you need to open up your body a little bit more. Gives you an opportunity to give relief to those muscles. Now, if you wish, at this point, you can come back to center, drop your foot down, bring a block and put the block underneath your hips or underneath your sacrum, and then come back up. The way we conventionally do it. But if you do that, still go to that same side and see if the sensation is there on that side too. The reason for using the block is to give you a little bit more use of gravity. Once you find the right spot, just pause there. You can use a strap around that left thigh. This is also stretching your piriformis, which is one of your adductors. It also attaches to the top of your femur, but that goes over and ties into the side of your sacrum. The piriformis is the bane of many yogis and many people, because that sympathetic nerve that I talked about sometimes goes right through the middle of it. So when you move in a certain way, that nerve gets moved. Causing some pain. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, release your bind. Allow that left foot to come down. If you're on a block, lift your hips up and remove the block. Take your right foot and place it on the ceiling, pushing your heel away, really stretching that right hamstring. And then bring that foot back down to the mat. Walk your legs out long. Lift your hands up towards the ceiling. And then let them rotate down towards the floor beyond your head. And stretch from your heels to your palms, and your toes to your fingertips. And then return your arms back down by your side. And then roll over onto your left side. Now this is a new pose that I've never taught before. So this ought to be fun. We always like to do things like this. Okay, so onto your side, and then what you want to do is get your elbow on the mat. I'm going to call this pose Cleopatra. So you can bend your knees, so your feet are coming out behind you. And then take your left leg, your bottom leg, maybe you can grab it with your right hand. You don't have to, this is like cat pulling its tail. Don't pull it very hard yet. But what you want to do here, right now, your shoulder is really engaged, and you want that shoulder just to release completely. Drop your rib cage down towards the mat. Now let's start up here and come all the way down. And just let go with, see if you can just release. You can feel this a lot right along your left side body. If you'd like, you can stretch out that right leg out in front. You get a bit of an IT band stretch, which ought to feel pretty good. And then with that right arm, just lean that shoulder back a little bit. That will get your shoulders a little more vertical or even tilting backward. And maybe you can put a little bit of tension on that right leg to get a quad stretch. So you're getting a lot of different things happening in this one pose. If you're grabbing onto the top of your foot, you're stretching your ankles. Close your eyes and turn inside. Feel what's happening in your left ribs. Maybe you can feel your ribs separating. Your intercostal muscles, those little itty bitty muscles that hold your ribs together. You're stimulating them and stimulating the fascia around it. Try breathing into your armpit here. left armpit. And then breathe down into your side ribs. See how that feels. And then you can release that right foot. Bring your your left foot. Bring your right hand over close to the left hand. And the next position is just going to be a spinal twist, and you're almost there. Just move that left arm farther to the left. You come down onto that left shoulder. And then take that right arm up towards the ceiling and lean back. Bring that right arm down towards the mat or towards the floor as your gaze comes up. Now that right leg can still be out straight, still stimulating that IT band, your iliotibial band. But feel this twist across your chest, your pecs, your serratus muscles. Those come from the front ribs up to your scapula. Soften your lower belly. If that right shoulder doesn't come down onto the mat, so what? For you, that might not be all that important. And if it doesn't come down, it's not important. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your legs back to center. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And rock from left to right. And if it's easy for you just to cross your ankles and rock forwards and backwards and come up, do that. Otherwise, just roll onto your right side. Push your left hand into the mat and rise up to a seated position. Bring your footprints together into butterfly. Now, your butterfly can be out wide, can be really narrow. The only thing that's important is that you feel this in your groins. And as you fold forward, you'll be feeling it in your spine. So lift your chest high, tuck your chin in a little bit, and then walk your hands forward. Now your forearms can come underneath your ankles if you wish. That's not necessary, but don't grab onto your feet and pull. That would be a different class. That would be my Ashtanga class, where there's no resting pose. But in Yin, every pose uses gravity to work its magic. Listen carefully. On your next inhale, come up halfway. Stretch your collarbones forward. Stretch the crown of your head forward. Moon the person behind you. She won't care. And then fall forward. Any bit more. Allow your spine to round. Allow your head to fall forward. If you have an urge to pull, just bring your palms up towards, face your palms towards the ceiling like you're giving a present. Soften your knees. With your eyes closed, maybe you can feel your knees being drawn closer and closer to the earth, where gravity is urging it to go. Let your shoulder blades just float here. Maybe you want to bend your elbows a little bit more. That will relax your shoulders a little bit more. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, slowly rise up. With both hands, help your knees come back up vertical. Bring your hands behind your hips. Put your footprints on the mat. And you can have your feet anywhere, but I recommend that you try a different location, maybe wider or maybe narrower. And once you wider again, and notice how different your hips, your legs, and your core feels. On your next inhale, come back down onto your elbows, all the way down onto your back. Stretch your heels out long. Stretch your arms overhead. Arms to heels. Then bring your hands back on the right side. That will block you. Walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. And then on an inhale, lift your hips up and slide the block the flat way or the highest way you feel comfortable underneath your sacrum. Now your block has 3 different elevations, but you don't want that block on your back. You don't want it on your legs. From here, if you feel stable, we're doing supportive bridge here. So the highest way you feel comfortable. If you're stable, you can walk your feet out towards the front of the mat. You can leave your footprints on the mat or come all the way down onto your heels. If your legs are straight, you can feel this delicious stretch across the top of your hip crease. Your psoas can stretch. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your feet back up towards your sit bones. When you're ready, push the floor away with your feet, lifting your hips and removing the block, setting it aside. Carefully lower it back down, or lower your hips back down. And draw one knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze. And then the other leg. And rock from left to right. And make circles on the ceiling with your knees. And then make sure you go the opposite direction. And the next time you come to center, pause. Lower your feet back down. Find your strap. Bring your left knee into your chest. And stretch your right heel out towards the front of the room. Really feel the difference between your right and your left leg. It's the same muscle that's being stretched, your psoas. And then take the middle of your strap, place it over the ball of your foot. Bring your foot up onto the ceiling. You want a nice stretch on that, so push away. And also, kind of draw that foot a little bit more towards your head, towards the far wall. And then make the bind. And draw that leg down into your hip socket. This is an unusual way to put stress onto your body, so maybe that leg will start to shiver. But know that that's a normal thing. It's just a disconnect between your muscles and your nervous system. And with a little more experience, that will go away. And then carefully change your bind into just your left hand. Take both ends of the strap in your right hand. Bring the back of your left hand underneath the strap. Reach over the top with your palm. And then bring the loose end past your thumb. Rotate that left foot out a little bit, maybe 10 or 15 degrees. And then slowly let that leg drift out to the left. Slowly but surely coming down towards the mat. Keep that right hand on top of that right hip to make sure that it doesn't come up, because that will lessen the pose. You're trying to open up your hip by moving that leg far out to the side. If we did this pose every week for 6 weeks, you'd be able to do the splits. And if you believe that, I have some swampland here in Florida. And just rest with your leg hovering off of the mat. You can always put your elbow down to support that arm, because that's not the target. The target is your leg. You may be feeling this more in your right leg than your left. And that's okay. On your next inhale, slowly bring that foot back up towards the ceiling. Slowly bend your knee. And when it's time to release that leg, go ahead and draw that knee into your chest. And then add the right knee. Stretch your hips towards the front of the room, flattening out your back onto the mat, and rock from left to right. And the next time you come to center, pause. Lower your feet next to your sit bones. Then bring that left foot up onto the ceiling. Push your heel away and then bend the knee. Bring your left ankle over top of your right thigh. We're coming to reclining swan on the left leg, your other leg. So from here, reach your left hand between your legs, behind the right thigh or in front of the right shin, and draw that right knee in towards your chest. And feel the tension. Make sure your spine is straight, that the little lumbar arch is down on the mat. And then rock again a little bit slowly to the left and to the right. And notice where the most sensation occurs. That will tell you where you want to keep the pose. Now you can modify this. You can move that left foot farther to the right across your thigh, or you can move the knee farther away. You can even move that foot in towards your hip crease. Do what's best for your body, or what you think is best for your body. And if you'd like to insert a block underneath your sacrum, go ahead. Breathe into where you feel the sensations the most. Try to soften your thighs. Your glutes are the target. So those are the muscles that are most important. But sometimes the easiest way to get into those muscles is through adjacent ones. Maybe you can soften your pelvic floor or soften your groins. Soften your core. Relax your feet. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, release your bind and slowly lower that right foot down to the mat. Stretch the left leg out and up towards the ceiling and rotate that leg forward towards the far wall, all the way down to the mat. Stretch your right leg out to meet the left. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling and then towards the wall beyond your head. And stretch from your fingertips to your toe tips. Spread your fingers wide, your toes wide. And then press your heels and your palms away. Pushing your calves into the mat. Turn your arms back down by your sides. And from here, roll over onto your right side. Here we come to Cleopatra on the other side. So come, just rest on your hip and then on your shoulder. I just realized this is like a really bad half plank. But from here, bend your knees, bend that right knee a little bit more and grab that right foot with your left hand. That will just get your shoulder back. That's the primary reason, plus a little bit of your quads. And then begin to let your chest just fall down towards the mat. It takes courage to release your shoulder and just let the weight of your chest fall down towards the mat. The first couple of times I did this, I just couldn't find a way to release. You can walk your elbow forward a little bit, give yourself a little bit more space. You can close your eyes, breathe into your belly. Bring that right foot out in front so that you're stretching your IT band. Maybe breathe into that right armpit. And use your breath to soften those muscles that are resisting. And then to change this into a spinal twist, bring your left hand out by your right. Lean forward just enough to take the weight off of your right shoulder, right elbow. Reach that right arm far ahead. Bring that arm up towards the ceiling. And then towards the floor on the other side. Gazing off towards your left hand, if that makes sense for you. You can always move your head maybe an inch to the left to give your head a little bit more space. You can have that left leg out straight again, stretching that IT band. But there's no effort to it. It's just resting. Feel the stretch across the top of your left hip. That would be your obliques on the front side. Your quadratus lumbarum on the back. You're stretching your pecs and your rotator on both arms. Follow your breath here. By following your breath into your nose and down the back of your throat, into your lungs, observation gives your mind a way to release your body to do what your body can do. Soften your glutes and your calves. Begin to deepen your breath. And your next inhale, bring your feet back to center. Draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a squeeze and rock from left to right. Maybe make circles on the ceiling. If you do, make sure you go both directions. And the next time you come to center, pause. From here, release one leg out to the front corner of your mat. Push that heel far, far away. And then release the other heel out to the other corner of the mat. And stretch it away. Bring your arms out by your side. They can be down near your hips. They can be straight up to the side or overhead, wherever it feels best on your shoulders. Stretch your spine long. And then lift your head 1 inch, tuck your chin, and then carefully lower your head back down, giving your cervical spine just a little bit of traction. Concentrate on just letting your feet fall wherever they want to go, where gravity guides them. Soften your shoulders. Allow your eyes to close. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. And exhale out through your nose. And another in through your nose. Out through your nose. And take rest. I'll be coming around and adjusting everyone. If you do not want me to touch you, just wave me away when you hear my footprints. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to fingers, into your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Give yourself a squeeze and rock from left to right, or make circles again with your knees on the ceiling, massaging your spine. And the next time you come over towards your right side, pause there for just a moment in fetal pose, using your right arm as a pillow. And do a quick body scan to see where there still may be some tension or stress in your muscles that you need to address later this week. And then use the strength in your left hand to push the floor away and rise up to a seated position. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this evening. It gives me a great deal of motivation to continue teaching, because you're so dedicated to the health of your bodies through the practice of yoga. Take the compassion and empathy that you practice here on your mat with you everywhere you go, and share it with your family, your friends, and those you might meet. Namaste. My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga. Thanks for coming.